Marvel Rivals is a fast-paced team game, but if you're new to competitive hero shooters or never played ranked until recently, it can feel a little bit overwhelming. My name is Niall, and I'm going to be guiding you through all the Marvel Rivals terminology to give you a better understanding of what is happening in-game and what your teammates are making callouts on. Let's start by giving you a basic understanding and foundation of location and positioning. The most crucial part of any Marvel Rivals map are corners, areas on the map that allow teams to hold their ground and are fundamental to control. Corners allow characters like vanguards to be enablers and facilitators of space. As shown here, corners are like markers or lines that once broken allow a team to break through the first line of defense or offense, take more space, play more defensive, capture the objective, and force the enemy into uncomfortable positioning. Choke points, like corners, are key marks on the map that work as funnels for the attacking team to pass through and for the defending team to hold. Choke points are incredibly difficult to navigate, and at times, these spots are where the majority of damage is output by both teams. Winning choke points usually comes down to scenarios such as punishing bad positioning from tanks, picking off an out of position support or DPS, or even taking an off angle to flank and eliminate key members of the enemy backline. Flanking is the art of attacking from unexpected angles and dealing damage or distracting the enemy, usually the enemy supports. On every map, there are usually different angles that allow for flanks, making it a great way to pressure the enemy and get an early elimination, also known as a pick. Now that we know some location-based terms, let's talk about team structure. Generally, most team compositions consist of a 2-2-2, which is 2 vanguards, 2 duelists, and 2 strategists. Vanguards, because of their ability to take space, are considered the front line, while strategists typically support the entire team from behind and are known as the back line. Some other compositions you may see are triple support, which is typically a 2-1-3, Goats, which is a 3-3 with 3 tanks and 3 supports. Goats derives from Overwatch and stands for Go All Tanks and Supports. Each one of these team comps has its own strengths and weaknesses, like triple support focusing on survivability and lacking in damage, or Goats, which focuses on taking space and snowballing the opponent with brute force but also lacking in damage, range, and utility. There are 3 main phases of play in Marvel Rivals: poke/pre-fight, team fight, or sometimes called the fight, and rotation. Poke is a phase where both sides shoot at each other from long range before the tanks on both sides engage each other. This is where long range characters excel, and you'll see characters poking at a distance and not necessarily going in toward each other and meeting on the objective. A team fight is where both teams engage each other and a fight breaks out, where everything from close combat to long range attacks occur. This is also when the majority of ultimates are used. Rotation or setup happens after a fight when the winning team repositions or rotates to the objective to either escort the payload or position for the next team fight on the objective. For a detailed breakdown on team compositions and the phases of play in Marvel Rivals, check out my Marvel Rivals team fight guide, linked in the iCard in the top right and also in the description. While not as commonly heard over comms, ability archetypes are concepts involving different types of abilities. Crowd control, also known as CC, is an ability that functions as a sort of stun or form of displacement. These abilities excel at being able to punish out of position opponents, shut down ultimates, or force enemies to respect your positioning. AoE or area of effect attacks are attacks that deal damage or affect opponents in a large radius. These moves are great for dealing damage, buffing, or healing multiple opponents or allies. Modifiers are simple abilities that either buff or debuff an enemy, ally, or the player. These abilities may also have status effects, like Frozen. An example of this is Mantis' natural anger ability, Psylocke's psychic stealth, and Luna Snow's freeze. Marvel Rivals has various different types of attacks for characters, which are categorized into the following archetypes: hitscan, projectile, and melee. Hitscan are characters that when you fire the bullet or attack, it hits the target instantaneously, whereas projectile characters have attacks that take time to travel to the intended target. Because of this, hitscan characters are very good at being able to track a target and dealing damage to flyers. A few examples of hitscan characters are Punisher, Black Widow, Luna Snow, Psylocke, and Star-Lord. Projectile characters have primary attacks that take time to travel and hit the target. Some examples of projectile characters are Moon Knight, Mantis, Hawkeye, Squirrel Girl, and Magneto. Melee characters are characters where their primary attack or attacks are melee attacks. Examples are Hulk, Spider-Man, Black Panther, and Magic. By now, you should have a strong foundation of many of the basic terms and concepts you will hear and see over the course of Marvel Rivals matches. With a solid foundation, it's time for you to learn some more advanced tactics and terms such as actions. If you don't learn anything from this video at all, learn this. Peel for your supports. Peeling is the act of leaving the front line or whatever fight you are in to go to the back line and deal with an enemy who is pressuring your back line. In most cases, this is a flanker like Spider-Man or Venom attacking your supports. Healing is important because if your supports die early, 95% of the time you are losing that team fight because your team will have little to no healing to sustain them. So when you see flankers on the enemy team composition, know that about every 5 seconds, someone is most likely pressuring your supports. Another term you may hear in ranked comms is C9, a term that derives from Overwatch, where the attacking team moves off of the objective in overtime, allowing the overtime to run out, forcing them to lose the round or the match. It is one of the most tragic things to happen in a Marvel Rivals match and is a canon event for every player. You will experience this at least once. The term also is named after the team Cloud9, an esports team, and references their historic failure in the pre-Overwatch League esports era. Focus fire is the art of target priority and references your team's ability to attack a single target on the enemy team. The target is usually out of position, high priority like a character using their ultimate, or someone who needs to be dealt with quickly like a flanker. Focus fire also leads into our next term, overextending. Overextending is when you position yourself too far into enemy territory or space the enemy occupies. This is usually away from your team and supports and in a spot where they cannot help you. To prevent yourself from overextending, take note of where your team is positioned and where natural cover is placed throughout the map. If you are lacking natural cover or are close to the enemy spawn, chances are you are probably overextending. This can vary though, as there are instances where your entire team will want to play aggressive, where you will want to support your team and hold the space that you have taken from the enemy. Overextending can also lead to staggering, which is one of the worst things you can do in Marvel Rivals. Staggering is when members of your team or the enemy move into a fight that is lost or has just concluded one by one, never really regrouping with all 6 members of your team and dying one by one. In this example on screen, I am walking into a fight that is already lost by my team and trying to see if I can somehow salvage the situation when we've already had our Mantis who has died on screen and our Luna Snow. This fight is completely over and I pretty much just forced myself into a situation that is already lost. Staggering hurts your chances of winning because if you die one by one, your team is never fully fighting at full strength with all 6 of its team members, thus leading to you having less of a chance of winning because of sheer man advantage. Your abilities are quite literally one of the most important things to manage in Marvel Rivals, and cooldown management is a concept every player should know. Cooldown management is the art of using abilities in a manner where they are used most optimally and not wasted in scenarios which they could have been saved. This can be anything from throwing out Luna Snow's freeze in the middle of a fight and not using it as a defensive tool, to wasting your Diamond Form on Emma Frost by using it in non-close combat scenarios. Start by knowing and understanding the purpose of all abilities on your character. This will help you to have a general idea of when and how to use each ability. Then take note of how you use your abilities in-game through VOD reviewing your own gameplay. By using this strategy, you will pay better attention to your gameplay, allowing you to have a better grasp of your character. Ultimate economy is exactly like cooldown management and is an integral part of winning in Marvel Rivals. In most scenarios, you generally want to use 2, maybe 3 ultimates per team fight, because using too many ults will cause you to not have any to win the next team fight or respond to enemy ultimates. Of course, there are exceptions like overtime where you may need to use 2 or more ultimates to win a must-win team fight. And there you have it, fellas. Thank you for finishing this little course to Marvel Rivals terminology. By now, you should be very well versed in all major Marvel Rivals terms and concepts. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and as the main purpose of this video was to be sort of a reference point where people could easily access Marvel Rivals terms and definitions and have a way for people who are all skill levels to find easy access to educational material like this and have ways that they can learn core stuff to Marvel Rivals that the game doesn't really teach you. Don't forget to follow me over on my Twitch, link to that is in the description, along with my Discord server where you can get private Marvel Rivals one-on-one coaching and play Marvel Rivals with me on stream. My name is Niall, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.